Elliot.
Your avatar is not very lively.
No,
You
it's
might have to
not.
change your microphone settings. Do you know how to do that?
It says audio levels too low.
Yeah.
Um, so what would I do? I just
You have to go into preferences for it. I'll come down and do it in a second.
no,
Just
I can do it.
look at
Like just by seam detection more.
no. I'll come down
No.
and do it in a second.
Okay.
Just see if it sounds good on Twitch.
Okay.
I'm on Twitch.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey,
Hello.
Twitchy interns.
Nice.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put us on our
Oh,
loading screen.
I like how the numbers have a slightly different font, so it's like Lord Poppy, 1997. Yeah.
Oh, here.
Ben had a baby and we saw an opportunity.
Oop. Oh,
Just
oh.
like twitching,
Wow.
twitching for Twitch.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh dear, already. I have to adjust our. Oh dear. Oh no, this is going not well already.
Yeah,
Hi.
I hope you know that your evaluation begun the moment that we went live.
No,
Intern
we don't
Jonny.
want to crop. We don't want to crop the text box.
No, I'm just trying to keep it. I mean, I don't want this. I guess it can have some stuff on the sides. This isn't
We're not
great.
afraid of showing people how things work here at Tough Guy Mountain.
Okay.
But we're also not afraid of being very harsh in our evaluation of our interns. So I would like to point out this is not going well for you.
Okay, I guess that's as good as I'm gonna get it. Thank you. First to my executives for joining me today, and thank you for all the other interns out there in intern land for joining me on Twitch stream and on YouTube stream. My name is Intern Jonny, Little Intern Jonny, and I'm here today to show the executives all the work I've done on the intern testing facility. This is the intern testing facility that you're looking at right here, and we're going to jump into it. But first, if any interns out there, if you have any questions or are interested in an internship at Tough Guy Mountain, you can. We're doing drop-in interviews today. So if you want if you say so in the chat, we can get you an interview with Tough Guy Mountain right now for an internship. We've got we've got two executives on the line here. We have Executive Beige Kathy and Executive Ivan Phone. Thank you so much for joining me today, both of you.
It's great to be here. I'd like to say to all our audience members that yes, we are here, in fact, to evaluate Intern Jonny inside the Intern Testing Facility. But one of the core principles of our company is constant evaluation. We're always assessing and reassessing what we do here, and that includes you, our audience. So if you want to be assessed, just say hi in the chat, and we'll ask some questions, and that will give us some valuable data points about you that we'll be able to sort of formulate into more content.
Yes, really. It's a bit of pressure for all you potential interns out there. But I think the performance that Intern Jonny here does today, the success is really based on your participation as well, not simply ours. So I think that's a lot of expectations, but it's only because we believe in the most potential that you have.
We believe in you. Not as much, and we don't. Well, I don't know. How do you feel about what is your current state of belief in Intern Jonny, Kathy?
Well, he hasn't reported to the quarterly meeting of the Committee of Raters and Writers here at Tough Guy Mountain because he's been busy developing the Intern Testing Facility. So I don't know truly what his being unaware of his current capacities. I am unaware of his potential. This quarter, at least.
Intern Jonny, could you maybe start us off by explaining what we're looking at here? What is name? What is ass sad sad? As asked sad sad button.
Well, maybe the best way that I can it's the best way I could tell you is to show you. Is an old saying on the intern in the intern cubicles. We have an intern right now in the chat who is looking to be tested, and I just want to say, if you are coming here untested as an intern, that's fine. This is a safe space for untested interns to get tested as soon as possible. Like, we can do it right now. And so I helped to build this testing facility for myself and for other interns. And here we are at the beginning of it. I'm just going to turn on the testing facility. Let's make sure it's all running.
Intern, sorry, just stop talking, intern. Beige Kathy, could you ask intern Taxhaven some interview questions, because I think they need a little bit of testing.
Yes, I'm happy to take this on. Follow Executive Ivan Phone. So Intern Taxhaven, I see you haven't been tested. It's a little surprising, but I suppose that is what we're here for. I guess we're gathered here today discussing the merits of not just interns like Intern Jonny here, but also the merits of executives. Now, not us, as we're the two of us who join you today, we're very fine, but if you could answer this question to describe your best worst boss to us, I think that would give us a little bit of insight of the material we're working with here at Taxhaven. That is, describe your best worst boss.
So if you've had several worst bosses, Taxhaven, which one was the best of them and why?
Okay, so that's great. While we're figuring that out about Intern Taxhaven, we can just get started by going right into the Intern Testing Facility. So here we are. We start out at the gates outside the Intern Testing Facility. I don't really know what's out here, but it's just like I don't really know what life before being a fully tested intern is like. So it makes sense that outside of the testing facility is just sort of a blank void, a deep emptiness.
There really is something to say about, before coming into the testing facility, all interns are classified as untested interns, and untested interns do provide a certain amount of liability for this company, and that's one of the reasons that we don't like it. And so we like to get all our interns tested. And one of the ways we do that is by trying to make your brand. You got to go into the testing facility, you got to build us a brand. And we're only going to care about that brand if you make that brand really compelling. So I like the way this is starting, Intern Jonny. Good job.
Well, I had the help of Intern CEO to help me get started here, to get us going on our quest to become a full intern with a compelling brand, fully tested. So I figured we could first go through this gate to enter the testing facility itself.
Okay, stop talking for a second, Intern Jonny. One of our untested interns is talking, so I do want you to,
That's
get in line behind the untested ones.
Yeah.
Because testing our interns is our priority today. Intern Tax Haven says, my best worst boss was my first. I could never scoop the ice cream properly, and she was always angry with me about. They used to say she had sex with staff members, but she never made a pass at me. Sad. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty interesting best worst boss. But I'm assuming that means that you've had bosses worse than that, and that she's the best of the worst. Definitely an interesting piece of data from this intern. Before we proceed, maybe let's Beige Kathy, maybe let's give Intern Tax Haven another question to work on while Intern Jonny proceeds into this giant, colorful, bubbly bog divided by a bridge.
Your response, Tax Haven, has definitely been noted. Yes, also that it's not your current boss. I suppose I would like to know, you discuss a bit about your challenges with scooping the ice cream. I would wonder then what other sorts of challenges you experience, and perhaps if you could tell us a bit about your least important weakness. So Tax Haven, that's if you could please tell us about your least important weakness, ice cream scooping aside.
Okay, so first place we come to in the testing facility is the bog. And in the bog, you meet some new characters, and you're sort of find yourself on this long bridge that can go to a couple of different places. I don't know how the executives feel about this as being a good place to start the intern test, but I thought it would give you some interest and context in which to develop the first part of your brand.
You think about emptiness and adaptation.
And this
is that really how you feel, intern?
Well, this is sort of an abstract representation of what another intern might feel. I've already been tested, which is what gives me the life experience to program for the intern testing facility.
Hold up. We do have an interesting renewed interest in this interview that is also going on with our current untested interns. I think it's important to note that the least important weakness Intern Tax Haven cites is that they care too much about working hard.
Wow.
That's not very important. I agree.
But then I'm curious, if that is your least important weakness, could you tell us, Tax Haven, about your least important strength?
And if there's any other interns out there who are looking to be tested, just speak up in the chat and we can get the interview started for your testing experience to begin. So here I am in the dark, gloomy, in the dark aisle, near the dark aisle, which sits gloomy in the distance. And then also near me is a hill erupting from the swampy terrain. And then also around me is a tunnel that goes into a tower. I'm going to go that way.
Which way?
into the tunnel.
Okay. Probably a dumb decision, but you are an intern after all.
I like to make other people feel smart.
Tested or not, interns are dumb.
I'm passing through a field of paper cups filled with tea. I'm of course going to avoid the tea and continue into the tunnel until I come to a crowded place, much like an airport. There's a large octagonal desk with on top of some stairs.
Very nice.
There's so many interns here, I can't really hear myself think. There, that's better. I turned them off.
Speaking of other interns and other untested interns, I just wanted to note that Intern Tax Haven has responded to the last question of their least important strength. Tax Haven, just to note that they consider their least important strength is the fact that they've learned to overcome their clumsiness.
Wow.
Well, I think that's very nice. I'm glad that they're not a clumsy intern, or at least that they're a less clumsy intern by their own self-evaluation. Would be curious to know how clumsy they are now and how clumsy they used to be, just so we can get, a better idea of that sort of self-awareness of their own clumsiness. Clumsy little tax haven.
I'm in the sorting facility. I'm surrounded by 4 large doors, one on each side, and this is kind of the center of the whole testing facility. From here, you can get anywhere, and I mean anywhere. There's also these gloomy looking interns that are sort of feeling that are looking gloomy. I think we're gonna go talk to them. Is that okay, executives?
Very well.
So I find some gloomy figures dressed just like me along a section of the wall beyond the big desk, and they're looking cold, alone, and forgotten, in plain sight, which is the worst. Well, one looks up at me as I approach and says, I need 4 brand components if you want to avoid my fate, because they are the brandless.
Ugh. Nothing worse than a brandless intern.
Yeah, I'm sorry to show you this, executives.
It's even worse than a clumsy intern. Well, the gloomy interns at Tax Haven are being tested right now. They're just doing very poorly in their evaluation. So I think there's something to learn from that, is that, you don't want to be like them. This is how not to do it for anyone interested in how to perform at a high level in your evaluation.
So this is sort of it's something, an interesting lesson to take from here is you can actually learn something from the gloomy interns. So sometimes it's good to talk to people, even though they might look useless or So this intern told me that I need to collect all 4 brands, and then only then will I make it to intern paradise.
I think it's useful to explore the fact that Intern Tax Haven has noted that while the interns may still be clumsy, they've learned to catch things that were dropped in midair. I think it's very important that we consider then that as a level of certain performance that they may bring to this table. And I'd like to further this question just with the follow-up, asking you, Intern Tax Haven, if you could give an example of when you've performed.
Yeah, Could you give us an example of when you performed Intern Tax Haven?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Intern Jonny, what are you considering doing now?
Well, I thought maybe I could go back to where I just came from to see if we can find a brand element over in that direction. But of course, I'm open to your much better suggestions.
Well, giving a brand element to the brandless interns, I just want to say that, a generous intern does not necessarily correlate with a high-performing intern. I'm not saying the opposite either, but I just don't want anyone to make that mistake sitting at home. Being a generous intern is not the same thing as being a good intern all of the time. It's definitely on a case-by-case basis, at least by my evaluation.
What do you think is the case by this case?
I think, that you should follow your instincts, and that will evaluate the choices that you make. And I think that you asking for guidance in this context is an example of a poor performing intern.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to give a brand element to the brandless as a little test. And so the brandless intern smiles at me and calls me a sweet summer intern and says they cannot accept this, for our fate is one we would not wish upon anyone. I accept your kindness, but not this precious brand element. To thank you for your gesture, I will tell you where intern paradise is. Ignore the bottom feeder born in this pit. Ignore the tea and do not drink it. Across the sea, behind the tavern, found inside the simple cavern. Oh. Well, that was sort of funny because I didn't actually have a brand element to give to her. So maybe that doesn't, as the person who coded the testing facility, maybe that's not a good sign.
I do want to say 2 or 3 things here. Is that one, a self-sacrificing intern is a good intern. So despite this intern being brandless, they show that they've still got some grit. I like to see an intern that is ready to sacrifice themselves, as that intern did for you. I think I'd also like to check in with Intern Tax Haven and point out that they've stated, as a matter of honor, this intern does not want to perform unless they have been tested first. What do you think about that, Beige Kathy?
I think that I do agree that's quite honorable, but we're seeing, as we're testing and we're speculating and we're bringing ourselves into the future with our minds at this moment. I'd like intern or potential intern tax haven to answer the following question. How would you feel about working 24-hour shifts for the rest of your life? So that's intern tax haven. How do you feel about working 24-hour shifts for the rest of your life?
I remember.
I'd also like to point out an interesting part of this evaluation is that, perhaps by the end of this evaluation, we can name either Intern Jonny or Intern Tax Haven as the most tested intern.
Wow, I'd sure like to be that. I sure hope that's me.
Well, the only way that become you is that you get tested more than Intern Tax Haven and more than other interns that have come before you.
How about I'm going to go back to the entrance of the sorting facility, and I want to go back to where I came from.
I mean, there certainly seemed to be a lot in that bog that you were not really giving us a chance to test you on.
I think I want to go look at this the hills over here. It's a hill erupting from swampy terrain. So I'm feeling cheeky and melancholy, and I know that when I'm feeling that way, I often like to head to the hills. Especially if those hills are to the east.
Intern Tax Haven. Intern Tax Haven. That is a very interesting response. I am nothing if not a worker. I already work every day. Here at Tough Guy Mountain, we believe very strongly in the compatibility between living and working and living as a worker. In fact, we've really pioneered this idea of the live-work cubicle. Now, as we're testing you and testing your potential, I'd really like you to know a little bit about what your apartment is currently like. Tax Haven, if you could respond to us with the answer of what your apartment is currently like.
Yeah,
tell us about that apartment, intern.
Yeah, that'd be great to know. I came to my hills, and in the hills is the mouth of a cave, which is cool for...
Wow, these hills have mouths.
For testing reasons, caves are often very useful. I find the inhabitants of the cave inside That's also probably very useful for testing reasons. And their bodies are 2 pyramids of different sizes.
Wow, these hills have bodies.
4 legs, 2 to each pyramid. So that's each body has 2 pyramids with 4 legs total, 2 to each of the pyramids.
These hills have legs.
All the pyramids all have 4 eyes. So that's 2 on every body, or 2 on every pyramid, and 2 pyramids per body, 2 legs per pyramid.
I'm not going to say what the hills have in this example.
And there are hundreds of them, all regarding me. I don't know if I like this that much. Oh no.
What will you do, intern?
I hope I have some options. Or even better, I hope I am just told what to do.
There's any other interns at home watching this horrifying scene unfold and want to be evaluated while this intern runs for their life, just drop us a little comment in the stream chat, and we will ask you some questions that will evaluate you as an intern.
I'm running back to the bridge.
Very good, intern. Intern Taxhaven's apartment is the same size as their desk, not large enough to stand up in, but this is not a requirement for them. They have everything their body needs in their workplace. I like this intern's attitude. What say you, Beige Kathy?
I agree. This is quite what we like to see among our interns here at Tough Guy Mountain, the interns who have been tested. In fact, this is some of the ratio, the beautiful golden ratio of scale that we implement in our pioneering live work cubicles here at Tough Guy Mountain. Now, I think it's again, as we were speculating on your potential to fit here at Tough Guy Mountain and fit in with the other interns in the live work cubicles, I'd like you to take a more fantastical approach to thinking about this by considering, aside from the day-to-day life, the day-to-day work living situation you find yourself in, what would you need in the case, or what would you bring along with you in the case that you found yourself on a deserted island? Aside from food and water, because assumedly that would be provided by your intern nutrition dispensing station. So Taxhaven, what 2 things aside from food and water would you want on a deserted island?
Now, speaking
Excellent.
of the deserted island, I would like to head to the west this time, to a dark isle sitting gloomy in the distance. I'm also feeling a bit gloomy here in the bog still. Here we go, towards the isle.
I love an intern who explores.
Yes, I am an intern explorer, and I found this dismal village with a hooded figure approaching me upon its shores. Strangely, they look familiar, although I'm sure I've not been here before. They're not very friendly, it would seem. And I see others, all who look exactly like the first one I saw, and they're all watching my interaction from the cracks in the walls. I don't know what to think about this. And they say, we'll give you this brand element if you go away. That's great.
Ooh.
So I just got my first brand element. That's huge. A whole color called sunflower seed gray. I'm just an intern, but I think colors are pretty important parts of brands.
Beige Kathy, what do you think about the color sunflower seed gray in the context of this intern's emerging brand?
I think it's a good neutral base to start on. That you can't really go wrong with a sunflower seed gray or a good beige.
I agree.
Well, now nothing left to do but to go back to the sorting facility and then do lots more things.
Well, nothing left for you to do in this instance, but there's lots for intern tax haven to do, and that intern says that they would want to bring their phone and a solar panel to charge their phone with, and I think that's an intern that recognizes what's important and knows how to think ahead.
Wow, yeah,
Yes,
that's really impressive.
Would you have thought to bring that, Intern Jonny?
I don't want to answer a hypothetical question right now. I'm already being tested enough as it is.
Do you think an intern can be over tested?
No, that's not what I meant. Oh God, I'm ruining this.
I think that's very interesting, Intern Tax Haven. The idea of bringing a phone and a solar panel. Now, I think that once you've charged your phone, that solar panel presents an interesting conundrum, because on this deserted island, assumedly you're continuing to have sun, but once you finish charging your phone, what would you do with that? Tax Haven, in general, what do you do with your excess energy?
I wonder how much excess energy they have, because that would change what you're going to do with it. It's not just a matter of you don't have all the options, I guess.
Well, I'm planning on next approaching this large octagonal desk in the middle of the sorting facility to talk to several interns who are very busy and not noticing me. But one of them does say, which section would you like access to? I think I just clicked really fast through another option, but he eventually says, which section would you like access to? Uh-oh, I just clicked really fast again. I must be nervous.
A nervous intern is an intern that doesn't always make the right decision.
Oh.
Good luck, intern.
Okay, so now that I've talked to the interns about heading north, I can head north. So that's great for me. To the north, a bored, pale intern says, "Enjoy the garden, intern."
I would like to point out that Intern Tax Haven is withholding information. And, on one hand, from an evaluation perspective, you could say that intern is showing some discretion. On the other hand, there are no secrets in the workplace, and, we're all a family here, and we need to be able to talk about these things even if we don't want to.
It's true. It's true. In fact, there's no secrets in a family, and we'd like to know a little bit more about your family, your previous family, before we allow you to enter into ours after you've been tested. Tax Haven, would you be able to tell us about your mommy or your daddy, or perhaps a favorite celebrity?
So now I'm in the garden now. That's another part of the testing facility, a very important part. Hopefully I'm able to find even more brand elements inside the garden. This is probably my favorite part of the whole testing facility because it's very beautiful. And as an intern, I really appreciate beauty. There's, of course, more than just trees and well-manicured lawns. There are some sculptures. And just like it says here, I think they're very nice. I will be investigating the sculptures because they are very nice. I do indeed think that. Others are not as nice, and I also really think that. It looks like these sculptures were made by many different people. This is something I'm not sure about. Do you know who made all these sculptures?
I can answer that question only by saying that this is not something that we would share with interns, not just who made it, but whether or not we know.
Okay. If I knew that, then I wouldn't have asked you. I'm really sorry.
Are there any sculptures down there of Drew Barrymore? Because that is Intern Tax Haven's favorite celebrity mommy.
Yeah, I think there was one at the front of the garden.
Is
I
it
mean,
possible that one of the sculptures themselves have been made by a celebrity artist?
I think no matter where you are inside the Tough Guy Mountain Corporate HQ, you're going to find some really exciting celebrity brand collaborations. Even down here in this horrible pit of intern testing, will you find that kind of brand experience?
I hope that someday I get to meet a celebrity.
Well, we don't, like interns who aim too high.
Oh, maybe I should. I just meant a celebrity sculpture. A sculpture of a celebrity.
You can tell some of the sculptures are popular. That's kind of what we were saying.
Yes. Yes. I often find that executives say things that I then are proven to be true. Oh, I'm always excited about an option that allows me to develop my aesthetic tastes.
Very nice, intern.
So I'm seeing some hectic sculptures, but I'm drawn to the blandest one in the whole clearing. It's a bored-looking figure, and I'm both following my own aesthetic tastes and the pointing of the sculpture, leading me to one thing. There's one bored figure after another, just pointing.
I think it's important to note. Not that now that we return to our other intern testing occurrence happening at this moment, that while intern Jonny is developing an aesthetic taste, I think we should ask Tax Haven, how have you developed your aesthetic taste?
I am the intern. I'm the intern being tested around here. I'm glad other interns can be tested, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting the most tested.
Well, we don't like a greedy intern. If there are any other interns sitting watching this at home, wanting some evaluation and being willing to share in that evaluation with all other interns, just drop us a little message in the stream chat and we will give you a question to evaluate you on, and we promise that little intern Jonny here will not interrupt that evaluation and will share in the evaluation resource.
Oh no, I don't think this is going well for me.
Tell us what else is happening down there in the garden, intern Jonny.
So at the base of the largest tree in the garden, I found the sculptor who is making their latest sculpture of a board pointing figure. I of course I'm going to speak the artist. A pale intern with coral-colored hair regards you. She looks bored and sad.
That sounds like someone I know.
I don't know how this could be possible.
She tells you she doesn't want to leave this place. She hoped no one would find her here in the garden.
Beige Kathy, let's make sure to just take a note of this intern's location for a future project.
Intern Jonny, could you just send a geolocated a message to us for this exec mail?
Yes, I'll just quickly put it in the chat. It's garden plot 22.661. Here, I'm just putting it in the chat.
So as all of you can see watching it at home, that even when another intern asks you to keep their secret, it's still always good to be honest with executives. Even if you have secrets with other interns, secrets are only kept from other interns. They're never kept from executives. So intern Jonny is not breaking the oath he just made by sharing that geolocation with us. And I think this is something that all interns can learn from. So thank you, intern Jonny.
And if if my secret, if I don't keep a secret towards other interns in telling the information to executives, that's also fine and not bad.
I would like to point out, however, though, because you shared that geolocation in the stream chat, you were sharing it with other interns, and that means you were breaking your intern oath, and that will be added as a note to your evaluation.
I just can't keep all these rules straight.
And your inability to keep all these rules straight will be added to your evaluation. But congratulations on receiving the shape of a tetrahedron. We now have, we can see the brand literally taking shape now. It is the color sunflower seed gray, and it has the shape of a tetrahedron. Over to Beige Kathy. What do you think is a live analysis of how this brand is forming for Intern Jonny?
I think, again, much like sunflower seed gray is a strong basis to build a brand upon, a tetrahedron with with its multiple sides is again a sturdy base. I think we could see ourselves looking towards this brand as something very dependable in the future. I'm very interested in the development of Intern Tax Haven's future brand. In fact, due to their morning routine involving searching through various search engines, the phrase art, and deciding then what they like to see. Perhaps this could fully develop then into their own brand. As they're searching for this brand, I think I'd like to ask them a question to search deeper into their future, asking them to consider, Intern Tax Haven, what are you going to do in 5 years?
So that question for that intern is, what are you going to do in 5 years? And I look forward to their answer. I think that Intern Tax Haven has a lot of promise. Speaking of interns, where are you going, Intern Jonny?
Well, this time I thought I would head into the Eastern Fogs. This is another very important part of the intern testing process, is to explore the fogs.
Very well.
So I walk down a long tunnel. I see another intern doing exactly the same. Eventually a voice shouts, "Interns, on your marks. Get set. Go."
I like when we get to see how fast our interns are, do a little bit of athletic testing. That's something that we don't always get to see when they're sitting at their computies all day.
I immediately am in a race. The other intern starts sprinting. I really should too. Okay, gotta get these legs moving. I'm gonna run. Now I'm given a path that's splitting in two. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. To your left, a ramp. Okay. To your right, not a ramp. Okay, gotcha. I guess
this is a pivotal choice, Intern Jonny.
This, I suppose everything might rise on this decision. Something is compelling me to run at full speed, so not a lot of time to make the decision. I guess I'll just run the opposite direction. So I'll run to the. I guess I'll go to the right.
I love watching our interactive active interns activate.
I have a chasm ahead of me. Oh, I really, it seems too vast to leap across. Oh, there's a spelling mistake I just found in my. I hope no one else sees that.
Intern.
Am I talking? Oh no, I said that out loud. Oh no, good grief!
We're tracking all your spelling mistakes.
I don't have any choice but to hop over the chasm. Okay, here it goes. Little legs, don't fail me now. Oh no.
How little are your legs, intern?
Well, they've been stuck behind a desk for a long time now, so they've suffered quite a bit of muscle atrophy.
Good.
I really I'm oh Mike, my leap being insufficient really sent me for one. Okay, so I'm falling down a big chasm. My opponent chose the ramp and gains sufficient height to clear the chasm and runs onward.
One thing that's nice about seeing two interns competing is that you can compare them directly. So we know now that intern Little Johnny is not as good as his opponent. Speaking of other interns, Intern Tax Haven says that in 5 years they hope to correct intern Little Johnny's spelling mistakes as Little Intern Johnny's superior. I think I do like to see an ambitious intern that is always looking for future opportunities and looking for ways to dominate their fellow interns and get ahead.
Yes, that's...
Me, on the other hand, I'm lying in garbage here at the bottom of a chasm. Things have never looked worse for me.
How does it feel to be lying in garbage while a fellow intern talks about their desires to correct your spelling mistakes? Can you just give us an insight into the intern psyche in these kinds of special intern moments?
Well, I do appreciate being called a special intern. I think that without our trials, we could never know how high we could truly fly and how bright we could truly shine. So I'm hoping that it's always darkest before the dawn, and that this will indeed lead me out of the chasm, this ladder that I found.
So one thing I just really want to point out about Intern Jonny here that I think is particularly interesting and inspirational is that, an intern can be lying in garbage, losing a direct competition with another intern, watching another intern seek advancement over them and still, find a certain kind of nobility in that moment. So to see Intern Jonny lying in garbage with a little smile on his little intern face is something that warms my cold heart. Beige Kathy, do we have another question for Intern Tax Haven? And also anyone else watching, feel free to answer these questions as well in the stream chat, and we can evaluate your intern answers.
Yes, I think it was very interesting to hear that Intern Tax Haven desires to lord over Intern Jonny in 5 years as his superior. I think that's an admirable stretch of any aspirational goal. I think then, that this assumption from the role of the unpaid intern to perhaps a somewhat paid superior, whether that's in a low-ranking managerial position or approaching something near a C-level, it's important to think about the material differences between the status of yourself at this moment and then. Now, before, obviously, the discussion of money is not on the table at the moment, but I think Tax Haven and for anyone else in the chat right now, it would be, and the other interns looking to be tested, it would be important to reflect upon and tell us quite candidly how much money is currently in your bank account.
Yeah, I would love to know that.
Great question.
I would love to know that too.
I didn't know interns had bank accounts until just now, so I'm learning a lot as well.
Me neither. I certainly don't know how much is in my bank account or if I even have one.
If anyone else watching wants to let us know how much money is currently in their bank account, feel free to drop a figure in the stream chat.
I just want to mention that I did reach the top of the ladder, which is a bit ironic for an intern, if you know what I mean. In front of me is a giant orange boulder. And of course I'm going to push the boulder. And the boulder is now chasing down my opponent, the snobby ramp runner, and squishing them and allowing you to take the make up the distance. Oh God, I don't know what I meant when I wrote that. Oh no. I'm going to now I'm going to cross over to the left. Here ahead of me, I've got the next chasm ahead of me with 9 leafless trees inside of it. In front of this chasm is a small stone fence. I'm going to run and jump at one of the trees, and I land among the crackly branches. Yow! Below me is the chasm. The water is below. There is water below. It's as if the trees are growing out of a giant well. I have the choice of either climbing to the other side or risking a difficult jump to get ahead of my opponent. And one of the things that some interns like to say is that if there's no risk, there's no reward. So I'm going to go for a little bit of risk.
I love zeroing in on these specific moments of choice for an intern. Oh, and that intern's falling into the chasm. As much as I think that they made the wrong choice, it is fun to watch an intern fall into the chasm, so I'm not entirely displeased by this.
I'm quite pleased, in fact, to see the lack of fear that intern Jonny has displayed as he falls into the chasm. Oh, well, if you don't seem physically injured at all.
It says here that my intern body is strong, so that's probably why.
I suppose we should make a note that this intern's body is strong. That means that we designed it well, so really that's not something that the intern did well, but really the design that goes into the intern, which is a credit to this great company.
So here I'm at the bottom of a very massive well, and I have some trees to climb.
Okay, well, you climb those trees, little intern, but I think, have we talked yet about Intern Tax Haven's celebrity mommy, Drew Barrymore, and how she controls that intern's bank account. So I think that actually answers our questions about interns and bank account, is that they don't control them, but they might have celebrity mommies that do control them. Thoughts on that, Beige Kathy?
Well, I think when you're examining that power dynamic and that relationship, you have to question, there's trust. Again, we're allowing you to keep that secret because that is part of the family here. That's a higher. You're talking about celebrity Drew Barrymore mommy. She's clearly in an M level position. So you may keep that secret, but of course, the secrets with your interns don't keep. Those aren't secrets. That's company IP. So that has to be disclosed to us. I think with what we've been seeing with intern Jonny here, he's been actively seeking out quite challenging situations. And that is something that, as the intern that is competing with him in this test off is, we'd like to ask you a bit about these sorts of things that are quite scary. In fact, could you name to us your greatest fear, Tax Haven?
Or anyone else who's listening, if you want to tell me as your fellow intern what your greatest fear is, I know I would find that very comforting.
I like to imagine that your opponent in this race actually is Intern Tax Haven. So again, we're getting some good intern head-to-head battles. And also, just as a side note, I always thought that an M-level employee, it stood for manager-level employee, but I think one possibility that's been opened up today is that the M could stand for mommy, and that there are mommy-level employees at Tough Guy Mountain.
Wow, I hope I get a mommy-level employee as my manager someday.
Well, maybe let's see what's behind this doorway. It could be a mommy-level employee for all this intern knows.
It looks like it was just filled with a strange fog.
Strange fog can be a mommy.
Or it could contain a mommy. If I walk into the fog, it swirls around me. It is so dense that I immediately lose all sense of direction. The doorway I walk through already feels lost forever. There's no way to find my bearing.
We've got a lost intern. Another one.
I am a ship, lost at sea, without chart or compass.
But we've
No.
also intern Little Augie has joined us in the chat as well. I think intern Little Augie lives inside intern Little Tax Haven, so that's interesting. It's an intern inside an intern, which is not something that I knew about.
Well, you've heard there's been rumors of nested interns, but it's interesting to see some proof to that rumor right in front of our eyes.
There's always so much to learn about here at Tough Guy Mountain.
I maybe I'm not a ship lost at sea. I may be lost, but I am not a ship. I am an intern.
Sometimes interns need to be reminded about this, what they are. Intern Augie's greatest fear is eggs.
Perhaps that's because intern Augie is an egg is sharing a terminal within an egg, and that is similar to the situation that intern Augie and intern Tax Haven find themselves with.
Well, I like to think of intern Tax Haven as the shell of the egg, and intern Augie as the yolk and of the egg, and the white of the egg is the liminal space between those two interns in their relationship.
I wonder what the scariest part of an egg would be.
I'd also like to know about that if intern Little Augie wants to share that with us.
I see a twinkle of emerald off in the distance.
What are you gonna do about that, intern?
I'm gonna follow the emerald twinkle.
Very good, intern.
Even though I'm stumbling through the fog, I still have my emerald guide. I follow you. I close the distance and I can see the twinkle which I sought. And there's a man standing in the fog. No, not a man, but another statue. I've learned so much about statues and sculptures today.
Well, let it be known that this intern was incorrectly identified a statue as a living man, and that is another point of evaluation for us.
I didn't mean to do that. Okay, well, he looks more lost than me, or I mean, it looks more lost than me, but less disturbed by being lost. His eye is the source of the emerald twinkle, which is pretty neat. I reach out to touch it, and my head is filled with an idea, which is knowing the best thing to do in a situation but not doing it. I think this might be... It's another brand element.
All right, so once again, we see a brand forming right before our eyes. It's a tetrahedron-shaped brand. It's sunflower seed gray as its color, and now it has an emotion emanating from it, which is knowing the best thing to do but not doing it. Beige Kathy, could we get some more of your live analysis on this brand?
Yes, well, I previously stated that the sunflower seed gray and tetrahedron shape was a very good basis for a brand. I'm a little disappointed to see this coming in this late in the game. The idea of knowing exactly the right thing to do in the situation but not doing it. I think it's a little bit of, we're aiming for more than mediocrity here at Tough Guy Mountain. So perhaps the fourth brand component will sort of ricochet this brand into a new to new heights. But what I'm seeing right now is a little bit we have a strong base, but it hasn't really gone as far as I think it could go.
I mean, I can't help but think, what about knowing the best thing to do and doing it? I mean, that could be a really impressive thing, but unfortunately our intern was not good enough at brand mutation to create that. Checking in with our other intern, apparently the white is by far the scariest part of the egg, which as we described before, the thing that intern Little Augie is the most afraid of is his relationship with intern Little Tax Haven. So that's interesting to note. Intern tax haven or intern little Augie, I'm not sure which one is telling us. This next part is that another vaguely interesting factoid is that poached egg is the preparation of egg which stirs the most pure terror in my intern mind. That's very interesting to know. Intern tax haven. It looks like intern little Johnny though has raced ahead and is back in the testing facility. Sorry,
And
the sorting facility. We don't just test here; we also sort.
that's okay. You could call it, the executive's privilege is to call it whatever they want.
Well, those are two different things, testing and sorting. So I don't want to create any confusion there.
Well, next up I can go. I've been to the bog, I've been to the fog, I've been to the garden. There's only one place left to go, and that is the dump.
A good place for an intern.
Yes, I have to agree. And I'm greeted by a nice chill intern who says, "Enjoy the dump, intern." And I say, "Yes, you too, intern." And then I'm embarrassed because they're not going in the dump. Do you know which intern that was, executives?
That sounds, but based on the description, like a intern that is near and dear to all our hearts, and that's intern Tina Hopscotch. A very good door intern.
Here in the dump, I am walking through the gates. Smells and steam, neither are pleasant. But next to me is a long row of chemical vats.
Interesting that the intern would choose that.
Well, I'm really interested in the way that things get made, and I thought maybe the chemical vats might introduce me to some new fabrication ideas. The vats lining the wall to the left of me are roughly 20 feet tall, with a large base diameter. There are a lot of them, many more than I can count. I hear a humming coming from one of the vats, and I follow the sound of that humming. I climb the ladder up to look into the vat, and that's where I hear the hum. So I'm going to look inside. It's funny that maybe you executives can't hear this, but I can. I'm close enough to the sorting facility to hear it from here. Inside this medium-sized fish-like creature that's what's inside, a medium-sized fish-like creature. It's a bottom feeder. Wow. It's humming and swimming about the strange iridescent liquid in the vat, and it notices me. Whoopsie.
Again.
Interesting.
Have you met this creature before, intern little Johnny?
I mean, I haven't. No, certainly not in this lifetime of testing.
Could you send us a geolocation of where you're finding this fish-like creature?
Yes.
Also, a very fascinating development from our stream chat interns is that intern little Augie's name is now intern little Eggy. So
that's quite interesting. I think especially with intern little Eggy mentioning poached eggs, I think this really complicates this idea a little more of the eggs as fear. I'm wondering, intern little Eggy and possibly intern tax haven as well, what is your greatest pleasure, and is it hollandaise sauce?
Great question, Beige Kathy. I always like it when an intern's brand gets a little bit cuter. So I'm really happy about this development of intern little Eggy. Let's keep talking to this fish, intern little Johnny, and don't forget to send us that geolocation when you get a chance.
So
another one is swearing you to secrecy.
But I've already divulged. So he's tossing. I've got finally an emotion. But the emotion is latency? Have you ever felt this before?
It is
now collected 4 to 4 brand elements. Wow.
So we've just seen the live creation of a brand here. An intern creating their own brand that has all 4 elements. Now, a brand can be more complicated than 4 elements, but 4 is the minimum. So it's nice to see an intern that is at least meeting that bare minimum quality. This intern, little Jonny, is no longer one of the brand lists. Over to you, Beige Kathy. What do you feel about this brand now that it is fully formed, now that we have added the emotion of latency to the idea of knowing the right thing to do, but not doing it, and as well as the shape tetrahedron? Don't interrupt me, intern.
I'm sorry. I was just getting very excited.
And the color sunflower seed gray. I do like an excited intern.
Yes, I do have to take a moment to congratulate you, Intern Jonny, on the completion of the bare minimum of your 4 brand components. I know that my evaluation was a little harsh, or it's not harsh. I just had believed that, you could still strive for better with your last edition of the idea of knowing the right thing to do and not doing it. I think with the addition of latency to your brand, that could potentially balance out that idea, because perhaps you would have a little bit of a moment, that pause between knowing what to do and not doing it. Perhaps you'd be able to then build on that experience through the latency and in fact act upon it later. We don't know at this moment. I think if you do eventually add more brand components to your brand, it's all we can hope for in the future. But again, congratulations at meeting the bare minimum.
As always, quality brand analysis from Beige Kathy. Checking in with our stream chat interns. Little intern Eggy still wants to be called intern little Augie, but I don't think we're going to do that. So intern little Eggy, if you want to comment more about why you don't like the name Eggy, and we can possibly consider your request. Intern little Eggy also feels that hollandaise sauce openly sports eggs and is therefore not my greatest pleasure. If it is not your greatest pleasure, I don't want you to skip the interview question altogether. So please tell us, intern little Eggy and intern little Taxhaven, what is your greatest pleasure? As well as anyone else watching the stream, tell us about your greatest pleasure in the stream chat, and we will do some live evaluation of you as an intern.
As for me, I finally have the pleasure of investigating the Oceanside factory. And this must be where all that tea came from that was in the tunnel. Oh, I love a factory gift shop. I always make sure to visit the gift shop of every factory I go to.
Excellent. That shows great initiative.
And even more so than that, I always make sure to visit the museum of every gift shop of every factory I visit to.
Intern Taxhaven's greatest pleasure are snakes because they serve as a nightlight for the monster of eggs by ingesting them. Again, either intern Taxhaven or intern little Eggy. Oh, you're meeting a friendly barista. That's very nice for you, intern little Jonny.
Are they going to make you a coffee?
I guess the barista works in the museum, which is an interesting job for a barista to have.
Fair analysis, intern little Jonny.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Executive Mr. Phone. Now that I visited the museum of the gift shop, I'm going to continue into the factory, which is what I usually do when I visit a factory. Here I am. I'm in a large warehouse where there are towers and crates of beige liquid. Everything that I smell smells like chamomile, and everything that I feel feels like nothing. There's a foreman's office on a balcony looking over the operations. I think I'm going to go into the office. Up here on the balcony, I can appreciate the grid. In the office, at the desk, you read the name tag, Intern Maximus. Wow. This person must have passed the tests really well, or done really well on the tests. When I look in the drawer, I find a useful looking key. And then I take that key, but I'm sure it's fine that I took it. Behind me, windows look out across a great sea. So of course, I think I'll now walk to the water. Here,
You're doing very well, intern.
Thank you. I hope to make up for all the mistakes that I've made in the past. Behind the factory, I'm at the water, and I find a boat. It looks like it's made out of wood, and in the shape of a person, or in the shape of a centaur where the bottom half is a boat instead of a horse. I board it, and I find out why the key looked useful. It lets me in the boat, and now I can finally set sail. Here in the boat, the sea is calming, but everything in the sea is not calming. Oh no. On the starboard horizon, you think you see a monster. Looking over to port, I see a foreboding island.
While intern sailor Johnny is on his maiden voyage, Beige Kathy, is there perhaps one more question we want to ask intern Little Eggy, who is intern Little Eggy does not enjoy their name because it reminds them of an item that has plagued their nightmares for the last 4 3/7 of a year, 4 years and another 3/7 of a year. Intern Little Eggy. Sometimes executives like to name their interns after their greatest fears as exposure therapy. So if you want to know a little bit about the process of why we're calling you Intern Little Eggy, it's only to help you.
Yes, it's true. And with that, the fact that really here at Tough Guy Mountain, we're only trying to help you, I would like to ask you the question, Intern Tax Haven, Intern Little Eggy. Why are you here?
That's a great question that I ask myself whenever I can.
Well, back to your purpose, Intern Little Johnny. Are you going to stay the course?
When I'm given the chance to stay the course, I often like to do that. And now that I've reached the other side of the sea, I've docked my trusty ship, and I found a tavern that's called Intern Paradise. Could this be the place that the gloomy interns told me of?
I don't think that's what it was called, but I can see why you're drawing a correlation, and points for drawing a correlation, intern.
Here we find another very well-tested intern, Intern Franken. They were tested so well that they're now scrutinizing me. Of course, I'm not tested to the same caliber and level as they are. I'm realizing that she's also a barkeep in addition to being an intern. Franken, the intern, says to me...
Spelling mistake.
Where? I passed it already.
Intern Fraken instead of Intern Franken. So that's also going against your record, Little Johnny.
If I make it out of here with my internship intact, I'll be one lucky intern.
If you make it out of here with your internship intact, you're going to get a little intern spanking.
I guess that's just the way it's got to be. But they think but Intern Franken or Fraken thinks my brand is pretty cool, which is good news, right?
Well, aspire not to please your fellow interns. Inspire to seek the approval of your superiors.
Wow, great advice. And look, they're letting me check out the mall behind the bar. I've heard that you can make a lot of really neat connections in the mall.
Well, we're about to see if you are capable of doing that.
So I'm walking through the mall. The tiles are pale. Behind each door, inside each store, strange things are taking place. It's a bit odd for a mall. Luckily, I find a more inviting storefront.
Well done, intern.
It's a minimalist cafe. Of course, I'm going to come in the Minimalist Cafe. Thank you for being there, Minimalist Cafe. Inside of the Minimalist Cafe, there's only one customer, which is very minimalist. He is tall and has dark, unreadable eyes. I
do think it is nice when
laptop.
Sometimes minimalist cafes forget to be minimalist in terms of their customers. You'll see minimalist cafes that have long lines, and to me, that sort of defeats the point.
I was thinking that minimalist cafes really ought to only serve egg yolks instead of both the egg white and the egg yolks in their hard-boiled eggs, which upon, first glance could be very deceiving as minimalists, but upon closer inspection, that that binary of the yolk and the white is really a bit more baroque for my tastes.
It would be nice if they could just make some egg white scramble using the steam wand on the espresso machine. That way, we can get a healthy breakfast while also getting caffeinated.
I find that the most one of the most efficient meals that an intern can start the day with is a cappuccino omelet.
That's very nice, Intern Jonny. We have another intern in our stream chat, intern Big Danes. Foraging for low-hanging fruit is a pleasure of theirs, but they think the pleasure of external validation is greater. Is that the right answer? They think it needs review. So I'm assuming intern Big Danes is answering the question, why are you here? Any thoughts on that, Beige Kathy?
This is quite also applicable to the earlier question of what the greatest pleasure of an intern is. There's no demerit points for entering the testing facility late or answering any of these questions late. It's simply that you're here being tested is what is important. I do appreciate that you've submitted this for review, and even more appreciate the fact that external validation is important in your life, as that is exactly what we hope you will seek it with Tough Guy Mountain as your unpaid intern.
I'd also like to restate a previous point to answer this question. It's that there's nothing wrong with seeking external validation. Just make sure that you are seeking it from the correct people. There's no point in accepting it from fellow interns, but always seek to please your superiors. Oh, and intern Taxhaven is here because little intern Taxhaven. Oh, intern little Eggy is here because intern Little Taxhaven initiated them to their cause, and as a mere intern, they felt it was their duty to comply. It is your duty to comply as an intern Little Eggy, so thank you for being a good intern. Maybe even a future intern of the month candidate. I see, and I think Little Intern Eggy has a lot of potential.
Oh my. Wow. If I knew that I would ever be intern of the month, that would really help me sleep at night.
Well, I think one thing that makes you a good intern is that, intern Little Jonny, is that even without that hope, you're able to soldier onwards.
And I think notably, another positive aspect of your work ethic as an intern is that you don't sleep at night. So I'd prefer if you just continue to work throughout the night and the day, and don't get that external validation of the Intern of the Month award.
Well, I guess executives know best. I've been hanging out at this mall in a minimalist cafe. Another intern sitting at his laptop is offering to assess my brand. I, of course, want all the feedback that I can get. As an intern, it's important to seek feedback. That's a big part of being tested as an intern. So first, of course, I have the color. My brand color is sunflower seed gray. My brand idea is knowing the best thing to do in a situation but not doing it. My brand shape is tetrahedron. And my brand emotion is latent.
I would have been better had that been latency. So just another point there for you,
Oh no.
intern Little Jonny.
Well, I guess now not only is the testing facility not up to snuff, but my brand is also not up to snuff. But the intern that I met at the mall said my brand is of premium quality. And that I passed the test.
Congratulations, intern Little Jonny.
This means I can escape the intern testing facility. This means I've been successfully tested. I crawl through a narrow tunnel on my intern hands and intern knees. I crawl like this for a long time.
I think that for the interns in the stream chat, just I think I'd like for you all to picture intern Little Eggy, intern Big Danes, intern Taxhaven, that you are all crawling alongside intern Little Jonny right now.
Alongside or single file?
There's not that much room by the sounds of it in this tunnel, so it might be single file.
Is
It's sort of like an intern centipede situation.
who is in front?
Well, what do you feel both on both ends?
I feel like I'm in the middle.
I'm sorry to hear that, intern little Johnny, but that doesn't mean that you aren't still in a good situation overall. Intern Big Danes wants to be the kind of intern who crawls to win intern of the month. So I think intern Big Danes is as at the front.
Yes.
If only I had an ounce of the ambition that intern Big Danes, intern Tax Haven, or intern Little Eggy have.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't choose the right intern position.
I don't know how much time passes as we are all crawling together in the tunnel. Our only concept of time is that I haven't yet died of dehydration or starvation in the tunnel. But one
here
day,
here at Tough Guy Mountain, we're very proud when our interns don't die.
I do reach the end eventually. Here I am in a concrete basement where there's a ladder. This is the second time I've gotten to climb a ladder in this test.
Interns get to do all kinds of interesting things.
Wow.
Especially once they've been tested.
The ladder leads me up through a couple floors of storage and dingy office space. Now I reach the surface. What could this be? I'm surrounded by the hustle and bustle of hundreds of kiosks serving coffee. The kiosks stretching as far as my intern eyes can see, and many of them seem very busy. What? Someone says, "Excuse me, can I get an Americano or not?" A man in a gray suit is looking at you and asking questions. Looking down, you realize I'm not standing inside. I am standing inside one of the kiosks.
Looks like our little intern that got a job at a cafe. Good job, little intern.
Finally, I've escaped from intern purgatory. I think I should make this say Intern Testing Facility instead.
That's maybe true.
And now I get the chance to stay tuned for the next exciting chapter called Americanotopia.
Well done, Intern Jonny.
And well done, all the interns watching it at home. I hope you join us for our next adventure in Americanotopia, where we'll, it might not be a matter of testing intern little Johnny at that point. It might be a different kind of adventure altogether. So look forward to that.
Thank you for watching me being tested. I know that I'm not. There's many ways in which I can improve.
And thank you so much to intern Big Danes, intern Tax Haven, and intern Little Aggie. You all are now tested interns.
Congratulations.
Okay, my name's Intern Jonny.
I'm Beige Kathy.
And I'm Ivan Phone.
And we'll see you next time on Intern Testing Facility Performance Review. Goodbye.